As for writing this video, the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise turned 10 years old just 3 days ago. On the anniversary, a new game called Into the Pit came out, with it being the first FNAF game developed by Mega Cat Studios. Okay, technically it came out the day before the anniversary because it was leaked, which seems to happen a lot in this franchise. And the first trailer came out in January because it also got leaked. I watched it and was excited to play the game. I was kind of worried though because the gameplay loop wasn't really shown in the trailers, and it's usually not a good sign when the trailers for a game don't show much gameplay aside from running and hiding. Then the game came out and it's actually really fun. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what I like about Into the Pit and also the 1 or 2 problems I have with the game. Since the game isn't even 2 weeks old, assuming I, get its video out in time, I won't spoil anything in this video apart from the prologue, but pretty much everything that happened in there was in the trailers anyways. Okay, well, it's time to start talking about the game, starting with the story. In Into the Pit, you play as Oswald, like the guy from Epic Mickey. Oswald is tired of his boring life and wishes that something interesting would happen, so he decides to go into the abandoned ball pit at Jeff's Pizza, something we all do when we're looking for a bit of excitement. However, in a clever reference to the film Freebirds, the ball pit ends up taking Oswald back in time to the first 1985, back when Jeff Pizza was Freddy Fazbear's Pizza from Five Nights at Freddy's. At Freddy's, Oswald meets 2 kids named Chip and Mike, and they go around playing games like skee-ball. I'm not very good at skee-ball. But then during a game of hide and seek, the lights go out and something truly terrifying happens. The door to the room Oswald is in opens, and Pit Bonnie comes out of it. Scary stuff. Then there's some screams, which is not a good thing to be hearing when this freak is walking around, so Oswald decides to go looking for Chip and Mike. He follows Pit Bonnie because he might know where Chip and Mike are, but once Oswald finds out that Pit Bonnie's actually a devious individual, he runs back into the pit and goes back to the future to Jeff's Pizza. Oswald's dad shows up here and gets mad at Oswald for hiding into the pit, but then Pit Bonnie shows up and kidnaps his dad. Oswald pulls him out of the pit, but that turns out his dad has actually been replaced by Pit Bonnie. What? Also, for some reason, nobody notices that Oswald's dad's been replaced by Pit Bonnie. I guess they just look too similar or something. So now Oswald has to go back into the pit to try and save his dad, Chip, Mike, and some kids that got trapped in there, while avoiding Pit Bonnie in both the past and the future. I really like the story of this game. The stakes are probably the highest they've been in these games, as multiple people, including Oswald, will die if he doesn't succeed, and Pit Bonnie replacing Oswald's dad leads to some interesting moments. I'm kind of confused on the endings I got though. I got every ending except the 2 and 3 star ones, and while they are cool endings, they don't really answer any of the questions I have for this game. Like, I still don't know why the ball pit does the time travel, or why Pit Bonnie replaces Oswald's dad, or why nobody can tell that Oswald's dad has been replaced. I'm sure these questions are answered in the other 2 endings, but I don't know, it would have been nice to have they answered at least one of these questions in a regular ending. But I get it, it's FNAF. You have to do a lot of work and be like young Sheldon to get the answer to any little question in this franchise. There's a lot of reference to older games here. It is a 10th anniversary game after all, but they're not in your face and obnoxious like some other things with a lot of references.
Yeah, I got these jeans from outer space!
References here are either cool background details, something a character briefly mentions, or an achievement.
Was that the bite of 87?
Even the main menu here is reference to how the main menu looks like in the first 3 games, with Pit Bonnie glitching just like the animatronics in those menus. Speaking of which, I really like the main menu in this game. I like that the actual menu is on an old TV, and it gives the menu some cool lighting. The gameplay of Into the Pit is kind of like security breaches. Your goal is to find certain things around the pizzeria while using hiding spots and distractions to avoid Pit Bonnie. You also have to make as little noise as possible, as there's a noise meter, and if you're too loud, Pit Bonnie will find you. Also, if you run for too long, you're more likely to trip, which I think is a good way of punishing the player for just running the entire time while not having to add a stamina meter like security breach. Speaking of which, unlike in that game, Into the Pit actually adds gameplay to the hiding. You see, if you hide while Pit Bonnie's in the middle of chasing you, you will trigger a hiding minigame where you have to do something to stop Pit Bonnie from finding you. Each type of hiding spot has a different minigame, which is good, because playing the same minigame over and over again would have gotten boring pretty quickly. The minigames also help make the game more fair, as if Pit Bonnie immediately jump scared you if he saw you go into a hiding spot, the game will be incredibly difficult, as due to this relatively small pizzeria size, you will probably be running into Pit Bonnie a lot, and if you do, he will see you go inside of a hiding spot. This game has distractions around the pizzeria like security breach, and like that game, they are pretty useless, but in a different way. Distractions and security breach are pointless because avoiding animatronics isn't really that hard, since most of the rooms are pretty big, you're fast, and the animatronics aren't very smart. And Into the Pit, distractions are very important because there is a pretty high chance that Pit Bonnie will be in a room you enter without you even knowing he's there. Using distractions can help you get Pit Bonnie away from where you want to go, or getting close to you so you can see where he's going afterwards in order to avoid him. The thing is that distractions around the pizzeria become kind of pointless once you get the phone, because it's pretty much just a portable distraction, as spamming enter creates a lot of noise and will bring Pit Bonnie over to you. I know this probably wasn't an intended use of the phone, and this complaint could be fixed with just not using it and using their distractions around the pizzeria instead, but I'm a coward and using this method was a safe way of knowing I wasn't going to get randomly jump scared by running into Pit Bonnie. The flashlight you have has a battery life, and once you run out you have to look around for more batteries, which I think is a more interesting battery system than the way it's done in security breach where you just find recharge stations and then hold E. However, for one of the hiding spot mini games you need to use your flashlight to get Pit Bonnie away from you, and you actually can't do that if your flashlight has no battery, which sucks because it just means instant death. There's difficulty settings in this game, which is a nice addition, and when you beat it you will unlock even more difficulty settings settings, which is a great way to add more replayability. You can even do certain things like disable hiding spots, change flashlight battery life, and enable permadeath mode. Also, the other animatronics except Foxy will eventually show up, and they kind of work the same way staff bots and security breach do. If you get caught by them, they'll make a loud noise calling Pit Bonnie over to you. Unlike staff bots, however, each of the animatronics works differently. Chica roams around a pizzeria and will scream loudly if you go near her. Bonnie will be hiding underneath the table and will grab you if you get too close, and Freddy does something. I don't actually know. I never ran into him during my playthrough. Chica was easily the hardest one to deal with. She's in stationary like Bonnie, and she shows up quite a lot. Sometimes I'll just walk into a room and immediately run into Chica, and her jump scare got me every single time. Speaking of which, this game is actually pretty scary. With the exception of Help Wanted and its DLC, I don't really consider any FNAF game to be that scary. No, I haven't played 4.
The first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play.
They all have scary moments, even Security Breach, but I've never been shaken in my boots while playing one of these games. Into the Pit, however, no, this one's scary. The death jump scares is kind of predictable and never got me, but nearly every jump scare that happens while walking around the pizzeria did startle me. I don't think that there's been a FNAF game that's made me jump at jump scares as much as this one. Into the Pit has some really good visuals, the art style is super appealing, and the animations for when Pit Bonnie is looking for you in a hiding spot are incredible. I especially like his animation for when you're inside of Golden Freddy. I like the daytime sections of the game. They're a nice breather in between the night, and there's some pretty funny stuff here, like one of the teachers just being called the unpaid teacher. That being said, the gameplay of the daytime sections is kind of lacking, and I wish this little school subplot got an actual resolution. The school stuff just kind of gets dropped 1 or 2 minutes into the 4th day. Okay, I haven't really positive throughout this review, but I do need to say some negative things about this game. One of these things in particular is very negative and infuriating. You see, the game simply insists that Bonnie is blue. Does this look blue to you? What about this? Or this? The only times that FNAF 1 Bonnie has been blue is in FNAF World in the movie. He's not even blue in this game. I don't know why Scott Cawthon, creator Freddy Fazbear himself, insists that Scott Cawthon is blue. What? Insists that Bonnie is blue because he's just not. Also, they unfortunately removed Bonnie flossing, which is very sad. They made Chica floss now and Bonnie does this instead, which funnily enough is the exact same thing that Vector does in the first Despicable Me.
Vector! That's me, because I'm committing crimes with both direction and magnitude. Oh yeah!
Wait a minute. Vector flosses in Despicable Me 4, and Bonnie used to floss. Now that I think about it, why would they remove Bonnie's floss unless they're trying to hide something? And also, there's 2 joke spin-off games where Freddy and his Faz gang go to space, just like Vector did in Despicable Me. Is it possible that Vector and Bonnie are the same person?
But hey, that's just a theory.
I do have an actual problem with this game though, but it is a minor one. Okay, so night 4, you gotta use a firecracker to do something. I'm not gonna say what, cause spoilers. Now, at first I didn't know this, so I went to the quest menu and it told me that's what I had to do. It also said that I already had the firecracker. Now, I trust the quest menu with my life, and I didn't think it would ever lie to me, so I ran around the pizzeria looking for a place to use my firecracker. But unfortunately, the quest menu did lie to me. I didn't actually have the firecracker, so I had to go get it. Again, this is a minor complaint, but I wish that if you didn't have the firecracker, the quest description would actually tell you instead of lying. Also, apparently the game came out with a bug that would soft lock you on night 5, and while it got fixed quickly, I don't think that the game should release a bug that stopped people from progressing at the very end of the game. But I don't know, maybe nobody playtesting the game got the bug. I think it only happened to a few people, so that is likely. Back to things I liked about this game, I really like the drawings on the menu. It helps make it a lot less boring, and it also makes sense because in the prologue it was established that Oswald likes drawing like a little nerd. Hi, hello, this is editing me from the future, but by the time you're watching this, the past. And I just wanted to quickly say something before the conclusion of the video, because while I was looking for negative reviews talking about the night 5 glitch, which I didn't find any, by the way, they were all drowned out because that was like the day 1 thing. But while I was looking for that, I found people complaining about the length of the game and how the game is too expensive. It's $20 for that length. It took me about 4 hours to beat the game, and I still haven't done everything, you know, still gotta get the other endings, arcade machine, secrets, or whatever. I just want to say that if you don't like the game because it's pretty short, then that's fine. You know, we all have different reasons for liking or disliking stuff or whatever. If you want to play a long game and you don't like this game because it isn't long, you know, it's fine, whatever. But I don't know. I think that a game's value isn't just determined by how long it takes you to beat it. You know, there's a lot more that goes into it. You know, like the gameplay and the visuals, and you know, just like how much effort was put into the game that justifies the price tag, whatever. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't have a script for this part. I just thought I'd add it to the video. If you were to ask me, I'd say the game is worth $20, but I don't know. If you're looking for something longer, maybe not. Okay, I don't know. Time for the conclusion. I hope it made sense. Alright, bye. In conclusion, Into the Pit is a very good game and a great way to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the franchise. I still consider Help Wanted 2 my favorite game in the franchise because it's peak. But I still haven't done everything in Into the Pit, so my opinion could change. I hope the Mad Cat Studios make some more FNAF games. It'll be interesting to see adaptations of the other books. I've never read the books, nor do I plan to, but I know about some of the stories in them that could make for good games. Like the one where the guy has to prevent a bunny animatronic from entering his RV, which could make for a cool game in the style of the classic FNAF stuff. enough. But then there's a story where the guy gives birth to baby Springtrap, which that's probably the worst thing ever written. I hope 5 Laps at Freddy's and Secret of the Mimic is good. Apparently the 5 Laps demo is incredibly broken, which is bad, but Secret of the Mimic looks interesting. I plan on making a more in-depth video about this game sometime in the future, where I go into more detail of things I talked about in this video, and also talk about the things that I didn't talk about here. So if you want to be notified when that comes out, you should totally subscribe to my channel, because you know I make the best content. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go to the local IKEA and use their ball pit because they actually have those. But I guess